Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar, Change Your Workplace. The theme of today is promoting unity at work. I'm so happy to see so many of you here with us. My name is Martijn Kersten, and I'm working at Soul.com. Some of you may know Soul.com. Our purpose is to inspire and to train and to accompany millions of people like yourself to start using your workplace as a means to contribute to society. We believe that organizations and companies will need to change. Indeed, they need to transform. They need to become purpose-driven and to actively contribute to society. And when we see companies becoming more purpose-driven, you can see a change also in the organizations themselves. The culture changes, the structure changes, the leadership style changes. Learning and collaboration increases. Work becomes more meaningful. And then we can speak of a complete different type of organization. And that's what we call a community. Now, that is what this webinar is also about, to really learn together about this process, this transformation process of transforming companies into communities. And to help you and others to become an active change, a positive force in organizations. We're all here to learn. We all are here because we wish to learn about meaningful organizational transformation. We believe that the new work ethic is slowly emerging, and we're all part of it. And while we are working towards this new work ethic, we're also changing and developing ourselves for the better. In the previous two webinars, we explored together what it means to be a purpose-driven organization. We discussed the path that leads to one. We've also discussed how to build a culture of trust, which is very much at the heart of organizational transformation. And this time, we're going to discuss promoting unity at work. We're going to really delve into that concept of unity. Now, some practical points about the webinar itself. The webinar takes 1 hour, and it is best to mute your microphone. Unless, of course, you wish to share something, but it's a way to block all the different sounds from this conversation. So make sure your microphone is muted. This webinar is live, and it's also an interactive one. We will post some questions throughout, and we're very curious to hear what you are thinking. We use an online tool for this purpose. It's called menti.com. And as you are sharing your insights, others will see it. Your comments and your thoughts are anonymous, so that is, you don't have to worry about what you say too much. And I will explain more about the menti.com website a little bit later. If you have questions or comments, you can use the chat function. That is the chat function within Zoom. And hopefully at the end, we'll have some time to have questions and answers. Let me see if I can. Maybe to practice a little bit with this chat function, to like pose your questions, you can already maybe now just write, to just introduce yourself. Maybe you want to, you can say your name, write your name, and also which country that you are calling from. Last webinars, we had quite a diversity of countries represented. So let's see, some people from the Netherlands, I see here from Madrid, Spain, Costa Rica is represented. The USA, it goes very fast. South Africa, Germany, New Zealand, Belgium. Well, you can see that it is very beautiful how different countries are represented here. So I'm very happy. Now, today, talking about unity, we are very honored and very happy to have Liesbeth Rigter with us. Liesbeth is the CEO of an online bank called MoneYou. Liesbeth, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Hi, welcome. I'm glad it works.
And thank you all for joining.
Well, Liesbeth, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself, about your organization before we start?
Yes. Like Martijn said, my name is Liesbeth Rigter. I'm the CEO of MoneYou. And MoneYou is an online bank. We are active in 4 countries in Europe: Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, Austria, and planning to expand throughout more countries in Europe. We have around 500,000 clients at the moment, and we offer them financial services, financial products. And we see ourselves as pioneers, and we thrive when we can challenge the status quo. We want to learn about banking, how banking is done in future. And we have a passion for enabling our clients to make their financial decisions with more confidence and independence.
Well, Liesbeth, like, people are used to me, talking about like unity and trust and purpose. But to have a conversation about this subject with an experienced CEO as yourself in a corporate world is kind of somewhat unusual.
For you.
So why are you interested in this theme, and why is it so important to promote unity?
So when you're building an organization, and you work together to build great products for your clients, then it's very important to have an understanding of how to do that in the best way. And if you look at, for example, MoneYou, we are an organization with people. There's around 300 people working for MoneYou, and it's all people that really know how to do their work. They're motivated. They are professionals. They have experience. They know what to do at all different levels. And people also in their work want to be confident and independent in how they shape their own jobs. So this is actually something you don't have to work on. What you have to work on is to make all these people work together as one, because for the clients it's very important to have consistency in every part, every detail, every communication of what we are doing for our clients. So this unity of action, of all the actions accumulated of everyone working at MoneYou, to make that consistent, that's very important. Also, if people are not working in unity, then, well, everyone is working in 2 different directions, because we all have opinions, we all have a past, we all have experience, so we all have good ideas how to do something. There's no worry about that. But the thing is, how do you get this aligned in order to have a consistent and good product for your clients? And having unity at work makes work more efficient and more effective. So actually, unity of action is a is a way to have a high performing team.
Well, Liesbeth, you're raising kind of a number of like very interesting and relevant points, you know, especially that whole concept of, that whole idea of leadership, that to use the talents, that like all of those people at MoneYou are like professionals. They know they know their work, but how to bring them together and make them work with one common purpose, or to work in unity. So this is really interesting about the essence of leadership, you could say. And you also mentioned unity in action and unity. Now, oftentimes unity is quite, there's a little bit of confusion about, because they said, oh, do we then all have to think alike? Or, does it mean like we cannot like be ourselves, or there's this sense of uniformity? And
Exactly.
So what is your thoughts? Like, what does it mean for an organization to be united? What are some of the characteristics, and like, what does it really mean to you, like unity? Before you wait, basically, I just wanted to see, Liesbeth, before you start talking, maybe I can also like pose that question to everyone else. Let me just see if like this is now this interactive thing. You can see here, this is the question. What does it work to work in unity? How does that look like? Any characteristics? So I would like to invite the participants to take your phone or your tablet or your computer and go to menti.com, and then you have to enter this code 611962. And there, I'm hoping that we will actually, Liesbeth, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this tool, but like we will now see you get to see all the different like responses.
Yeah, well, let's share.
Well, let's share. But
I think
in the meantime, as we're
time to go to the website.
So as we are waiting for things to come in, Liesbeth, this is a very interesting question. Like, what does it mean to work in unity? Like, how does it really look like? And what is unity to you?
So exactly as you said, Martijn, it's this danger that unity will mean uniformity, and that you have to align yourselves to others, and you have to give up your own identity or your own ideas. So unity is that we agree also to work in a certain way, or that we understand in our work and our actions and our decision making, because everyone takes decisions, well, all day long, that in your decision making you understand, oh, but this is how my colleagues would also have done it, because then you get this consistency. And that doesn't mean exactly, but roughly. So for me, maybe I can turn it around a bit. If I, at MoneYou, goes also for me, of course, but everyone working for us, if we think, okay, so what should I do now? And I have these options and these considerations. Mm-hmm. And when I'm guided by the MoneYou, well, way of thinking in, okay, so this is a typical MoneYou thing to do. So that it's not one day to the left and the next day to the right. Mm-hmm. And you can, of course, do that by well, ordering people how to work. And I think there's organizations, I'm saying it a bit harsh now, but in the past, you, of course, saw that very hierarchical, directive, and that doesn't work anymore. And we can discuss why that doesn't work anymore. But one important reason why this doesn't work anymore is that we work in very dynamic organizations. And I cannot predict what decisions people will have to make tomorrow. It's not standardized work, what we do. It's highly creative. It's an uncertain world. And so I cannot tell them, even if I would want to. I cannot tell them how to do their work. They have to decide for themselves. So I can only give them context in their decision making. So there's a lot of things coming in now.
Wow, Liesbeth, look at this.
Yeah. So what I see, for example, I see now work towards a common goal. I think that's right. You have to be aligned on what you're doing. Why are we doing this? Why is it important that I do this today and not something else? So, yeah, driven towards a certain goal, ambition, is very helpful. I also see words which have to do with respect and equality. And people listening to each other. That's actually what I translate. If I see there's trust and everyone's talents are used and there's peace and harmony, for me that's a lot about listening to each other and giving everyone the opportunity to contribute to this unity in action. And Martijn, I know we talked about this before, because this is something which is also, it's something which can be a dilemma. When you're in an organization, new people enter, well, every day and again. So does that mean that everyone that comes in can contribute immediately? People have new ideas, we cherish them, but you also want some consistency. So it's interesting how this balance functions between, hey, I'm new and I have this great idea, let's do it like this, and, oh, well, we're used to doing it in this way. I really cherish that everyone that comes in adds to the community. And for practicality reasons, it's also helpful that people coming in understand, why are we doing the things in the way we're doing them now?
It's interesting how, like, I'm also reading one of those things here. It's like, it means to work like one body.
Yeah.
You know? Did you see that one, Liesbeth?
Yeah.
It's like how this body is, of course, there are all of these different organs or these different kind of like arms and legs, but they actually work as one, as you said.
Yeah.
So it is like this, there's a sense of coordination and a sense of harmony within the body that allows it to function very effectively.
Yeah, well, what you see, of course, what's not there is friction and waste and bureaucracy. So this is something you'd like to avoid. Yeah.
We're also seeing here that everyone's talents are used, authentic individuals sharing their gifts. Sometimes it disappears as I'm reading it, but they're working towards a common. That's also kind of interesting, huh? That sense of unity, how that actually flourishes, how the individual can flourish, how actually then the true talents and capacities can be seen and to be mobilized when there is an environment of unity, it seems.
Question, which is also which I think is very important, is so why would you want to have unity? We just discussed that, but also how do you achieve that? Because it's a condition, and there's trust and there's respect.
Right.
But what about actions? What do you have to do to get there?
Right. Well, maybe like it is a very kind of, I think that's the burning question. Like the why is not so like, I mean, that is what we want, but it's this how. We have a few ideas. Maybe I can share these a little bit, our thoughts, like our experience. because we've seen from our experience of working with companies that there's not like it's an on or off button. You know, it's not like you have unity or you don't have unity. There's always some level of unity. And it's also very interesting to look at the dynamics of unity, like how is unity strengthened? So we have created some form of I'm just seeing if I can give you another slide, another model. Let me see. I hope you can see this one.
Yeah, it's on the screen, I think.
You see the circle?
I see nodding. Circle of unity, Martijn?
Yeah, you see the circle? Yeah, you could say it like that. This is like, we identify 4 different levels of unity. And I'm curious to know, Liesbeth, as we are going through this model, as to, you know, how did MoneYou actually, how is it at all of these levels? How did it promote greater sense of unity throughout? So the highest level, as we come to understand it, this model is, by the way, inspired by materials from Fundiac in Colombia. The highest level of unity is what we call unity of action, as you've mentioned, Liesbeth. And this unity of action is very much like working shoulder to shoulder, that each person feels they're part of this enterprise, that each person is making a contribution, you know, is using his or talents and capacities towards the collective, you could say. And when there is unity of action, amazing things can really happen. Many things can be accomplished. Now, I'm sure that everyone has like experienced unity of action in one form or another. Maybe not in a company itself, but, you know, between friends or, you know, doing something together. This unity of action is thrilling. You know, it is a very, like, time flies, and, you know, you really feel that you're working together.
Yeah, I say then high-performing organization. Maybe that's too corporate for you.
Okay, that is like high-performance organization. That's good. Yeah. That's good too. And but in order to have that, we realize that you need something else before that. You know, that whole idea of when only a few people are doing the work, or when some people are, you know, there is all of these working in silos, or there's not that sense of unity of action, then, you know, a deeper sense of unity is lacking. So that's what we call like unity of thought. And this unity of thought is very much about understanding the way how to do it. You know, we're talking about strategies here, about approaches, about how do we actually carry out our work. So how can you actually have unity in action if you actually are not united in the how? Like, how are we going to do our work? So that unity of thought, as you can already anticipate, is also dependent on another level of unity. Because if you feel there is friction about how we're going to do it, it's kind of an indicator that we need to strengthen the unity of vision. So that is under that, you see. So unity of vision is all about, like, do we see the same things
happening in the world, for example?
Exactly. Do we read reality the same way? Do we share and do we have a shared vision about the future? If you don't have enough, like, if you're not clear about that, then also the how becomes a very problematic case, and as a result, also the action. Now, I would be very curious also, like, Liesbeth, to see at which level and like how, you know, what kind of your experience have been. But just to kind of complete it, is the most fundamental level, like, even if there's no unity of vision, then you have to go back the deepest, the most fundamental level, and that's what we call unity of soul. It is this that really unites us. There is this a sense of, like, our common purpose. You know, what is it? Why are we here in the first place together?
Yeah.
You know, what are our shared values? What is our collective source of motivation and energy?
What's our DNA?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when that is not defined, and when is that's not strong enough, then you know you cannot really build unity on a long term and consistently. That has been our experience. You know, so working on that unity of soul, unity of purpose, especially, and the shared values in that framework, that is like essential. And then you can start building again forward. So you like this is where a few little like arrows here and there is that there is this interaction between these levels. You see, like if you're experiencing problems in terms of unified action, don't start forcing things, but like go back one level and say, are we understanding? Is our understanding how this work should be done? Is that the same? And then you start a conversation. You know, all of these unity is built through very open and frank conversations in our experience. And the same for thought. If you have problems there, there's not enough unity, then go to unity of vision, because as soon as you strengthen your unity of vision, it gives you a strong foundation to build now on the next level, which is the thought. Okay, now we're clear about what we would like to see, then let's discuss again how we're going to do it. And also that's the same for soul and vision, is that, you know, we really need to have that strong foundation. So, Liesbeth, I mean, I know, of course, with MoneYou, you have made that the whole organization is pioneering, it's challenging, is looking at banking of the future, is really in the forefront of promoting unity, if you ask me, in the corporate world. Congratulations. I really feel that there is such an amazing endeavor that you are doing together with the whole staff. But can you share a little bit? We're very curious, like, what have been your experiences in building unity according to this model? What have you learned? What has been some of the challenges? How were these overcome?
Yeah. So actually, I'm using this model. We're using this model at MoneYou, and we're learning. We're not there yet, but we have made big steps already. And one of the first learnings I'd like to share with you is that we now use this as a model and work from our purpose, have this this vision explicitly also documented, and we have a lot of documents that are about thoughts, strategy, ways how to do things, giving context. And what I see is that when people are actually arguing, or they think someone did something wrong, hey, he does it wrong, he shouldn't do it this, or he shouldn't do it like that, then you can often ask yourself, so was there enough context for this person? So for example, did I, as a CEO, did I facilitate the organization together with my colleagues enough for this person to understand how to do his work or her work, how to have your action united with others? And often, if people say he's doing it wrong, they mean it's not. He doesn't do it in the way I think it should be done. Mm-hmm. And often, actually, when you talk about it, there's something missing. There's context missing. And the first thing that's missing is the unity of thought level. Mm-hmm. So it helps immediately in discussions on opinions. So if people are arguing, you can see it's all often about what we think. I think it should be done like this. I think it should be done like that. But that's, I mean, there's 300 people have 300 opinions. So how can we help each other? And whose role is it from a job perspective to give context? Some people should give context in everything which has to do with HR. How do we want to recruit people, and what do we want to value if we look for people? Other people may have a role in providing processes, how to set priorities in the organization. So often it is about that. And another thing I see is that if you put this action, as you said it, Martijn, as the most important thing, then every other thing, thought, vision, purpose, is facilitating that, is helping that. So it's guidance in, as I said before, the decision-making process of an individual. And what you sometimes see in organizations, and I've seen it in the past in organizations where I worked, and I still see it nowadays, is that when a company works on a purpose, and also when a lot of people are involved, afterwards they say, now your actions have to support the purpose. And I say, no. The purpose has to support their actions. Mm-hmm. And this is actually a big difference. Because you tend then also to say, what you do is not in line with our purpose. But you have to turn it around. Does the purpose help this person in understanding what would be then the best choice to be made? And this gives a whole new way for me of looking at how to empower people. Because the decision making is indeed with the individual. And I'm going back to what I said before. It's this professional. People have to learn. No one is already perfect. But everyone at every moment in his work can make their decisions and can be guided by unity of thought, unity of vision, or the purpose, for example. I'm not sure if I was answering the question, but I really wanted to say this.
And Liesbeth, have you found also a change in terms of how decisions are being made? Are there spaces, for example, where people come together to reflect, or to kind of have these spaces to reach unity of vision or unity of thought? Or what kind of changes have you seen now there's more unity in the organization?
What I especially see is that although we didn't want to be in a hierarchical organization already for some time, people still tended, because this is also how we are all raised and work in corporate environments, to bring things up for decision making to, for example, the management team. Mm-hmm. And we also, so it also helps ourselves. It helps everyone, but especially it also helps me and my management team to say, hey, so you bring this up for decision making. Why should my decision be more important than your decision? Is this because we didn't provide you with enough context to give you to make your own decisions? So then, instead of making the decision as you ask us, maybe we should think of working on the topic unity of thought, unity of vision, or that's it actually. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you provide people with something else, context, guidance, instead of approving.
Wow, it's fascinating. We just have to trying to catch up with all of those, this rich experience that you're sharing. It's quite overwhelming, actually.
We're learning. I mean, it's not the ideal world yet. We're stumbling and trying, but this is what we try. Yeah, and I've seen that there's moments when I take a decision because it's in the process. For example, on pricing, yes, we have defined that the management team takes a decision, but this is in the process. It's I don't have to decide on, for example, other things, which I decided upon actually 3 years ago.
And when you say like we really are using this kind of model, these different levels of unity, does that mean that it is quite normal to speak in your organization and that like everyone has some understanding? Oh yeah, we're having unity of thought, or we're having, well, how does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. First of all, I'm a very not dogmatic person. So actually, I always try to do things without the big philosophical picture. We have, for example, instruments like agile working or design thinking we use. But so I'm a bit reluctant myself to say, okay, use words like unity of action myself. So actually, I'm more a person that tries to share the thought behind it and talk about it like that. For example, I use the word context and facilitating a lot. So if there's discussions, trouble, difficulties, conflict on action, I tend not to talk about unity of action or unity of thought, but I tend to talk about do you have enough context to find a way how to do it, and who should provide this context? Because often people say, well, this person is responsible for X, Y, or Z. So why don't I have some document where I can read what was discussed on that? And that's not rules. That's not rules and regulations. That's more policy making documents. For example, so which target group do we actually want to reach? Which gives enormous context if you have that explicit in the organization. By the way, also words, I also often use the word explicit or explicitly, because a lot of unity of thought, and especially unity of vision, is often very implicit in an organization. And then people, especially new people, have to learn and have to guess what is the way you will be valued, or how does decision making go here in this organization. So it's a struggle, but making things that are implicit more explicit is a great help to people. In my experience.
And so these different documents that are being developed, they are actually they give context, they make things explicit, and they actually help to promote unity in the organization, as I understand it.
Yeah, that's what I think, and that's what I hope it does. And also, these documents are not static or fixed. They can be changed, but there's often people responsible for things, and they want to keep also their guidance and their documents updated.
Now, Liesbeth, it would be also nice for the other participants to see if there are other questions for Liesbeth. So what I've mentioned to you earlier, everyone, is that if you have questions, please type them out in the chat function so that we can also kind of see. I see that some people made comments. Someone actually talked about ego. We have to learn to kick out our egos.
Oh, I totally agree. David, I totally agree.
David. Now,
leave your ego at the door.
Leave the ego at the door.
That's what we say. Yeah.
Maybe that's also one of the things that we can maybe explore further. I just wanted to see, because we're also very curious about the how, you see, and about all of these things that you're telling us is so inspiring, and we also want to imagine that we can actually start to learn in greater levels of unity in our own organization. So one of the things that before we start with questions and answers, Liesbeth, I just wanted to have a little bit of another topic, which is about the capacities. How can each one of us become a builder of unity?
Yeah.
You know, what is it that you need to do, or what are some of the experiences that have worked, or how can we actually also help each other to become builders of unity? So let me see. Before I'm going to ask you this question, Liesbeth, because I'm very curious, but I want to also like invite everyone to the Menti again to see.
I'm curious too. Yeah.
Yes, let's put this like tricky question to them. Let me see as I'm. Okay, I think by now you should see this this screen for Menti again. There is now a new question that is there. What capacities are needed to become a builder of unity? Let's just put that out there, Liesbeth, and let's see what's coming in. People, like when you may have to refresh, or maybe your phone or your browser will actually automatically have been updated. But here again, I would like to invite everyone, don't be shy, just put down some of your thoughts, and that can be a source of inspiration, or it can give ideas to all of us as to how to become a builder of unity, because we know that this unity is crucial to becoming efficient. And what else did you say, Liesbeth? Efficiency.
I said consistency, effectiveness, and efficiency.
Now, that is the cause of unity. That's the results of unity. Now, let's see how to become a builder of unity. Spaces for meaningful conversations. Oh, selflessness twice. Listening. You know what you can also do is, like, if you have a lot of like ideas, put them separately. You can submit separate ideas, as many as you wish. So put them together if you have these thoughts. Now, Liesbeth, tell us, what are your experiences? What have you learned? Like, what does it mean to become a builder of unity?
So I see listening, and I totally agree. Because we were talking about this unity of action before, where we said things like everyone can share. Everyone is an equal part in this unity. And although I also spoke about people having roles and, for example, providing context, they often, to do that, they need also to listen to others. So listening, and especially if there's conflict, listening to one another to come again towards this unity of action is very important for me. Listening to each other. Mm-hmm. And listening to each other always means for me, this is a value of MoneYou, being at eye level, which mm-hmm. for us means being at eye level with our clients, with each other, and not being hierarchical in our argumentations, for example. It shouldn't matter what role you have. If people, it's about the argumentation you give. So listening for me also has to do with being at the same level as the other person.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is wonderful, Liesbeth. And let's see also what are some of the things that are being shared here. Courage, I see, empathy. Don't forget love, understanding.
Yeah.
As you're reading through all of those things, like, do you see anything that you want to?
So I see detachment, and actually, I think I'm intrigued by this word, because I'm not quite sure what is meant by that, but I don't know if someone can explain.
Which one do you say?
Detachment.
Detachment. Right.
Detachment in blue.
Mm-hmm. Twice, actually, I see it. Yeah.
So
yeah.
There's one I didn't go on the screen because I was talking, but one I also would like to add is, and I think it also relates to a lot of words that are mentioned here, is postponing your judgment. So searching for the truth has to do with that. I saw some other time to react, Oh, actually, it said something else. I have to wait till it comes back. I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Patience, so you give people time to react to work on any shortcoming, but also take time yourself to reflect. Great. I love that one. How do you do, yeah. How do you do that as a question? Yeah.
Oh, the question is embedded in the
Yeah.
idea.
And it's a question. It's a question because we always think, see also the question that we don't have the time. And every time and again, when we take the time, we say we don't have time, we have to run, we have to act, and we don't take the time. And then we take the time, and time sometimes even is 10 minutes, half an hour a day, where you think you don't have that. And afterwards, when you have taken that time, my experience is I myself, and I also see it with my colleagues, we always say, oh, I should have done that much earlier because this time has saved me so much other time, because now I know what my next action should be instead of acting and having to come back on my actions.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like this this text block in green about also reflecting. And shortcoming, well, we could do a topic about imperfection maybe once.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, the value of imperfection.
I also see that someone has written about detachment is letting go of your point of view to accept that.
Yeah.
So I guess that's very much that listening to really letting go, and what you said, postpone your judgment. Maybe I'm looking at the questions. I'm not sure if you see them, Liesbeth. They're in the group chat.
Oh, no, I have
let
to
me,
go there.
Let me read out a few, and then maybe considering
Can
the time, we have like 10 minutes, you could say, give or take. Does a female leader help or hinder creating this kind of unity? That's one question. Unity should be based on something like principles, spiritual principles. Does that apply to your teams? Principles, spiritual principles. There's a question about the unity model. If it's going from soul to vision to action, is it interactive, going in the opposite direction, or is it iterative? So maybe like some of questions.
Can I react to some of them?
Yes, please.
Because, for example, I see that Daniel, he answered actually to my question on detachment.
Right.
And Daniel says, detachment, what I mean is letting go of your point of view. Okay, so it came later in the box. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Accept that of others. I really like that. So open, listening, postponing your judgment, but for me, it's never about not having an opinion. I think in the end, everyone can have an opinion. So for me, it really helps to decide to postpone my opinion and listen better before I take my stand. But I didn't know that the word detachment meant that. So that's nice. Mm-hmm. Is the unity model directional from soul to vision, thought, action, or is it interactive? So I understand the question. And I'm not sure if I'm going to repeat, because I strongly feel it like this and I think Martijn said it at the beginning, and I really would like to emphasize that unity of action is actually the thing to strive for. Mm-hmm. Not purpose or not unity of vision. It's the unity of action, in my opinion, which helps if you take that perspective to strive for. And if there is lack of that, for example, in a small team, I was talking about documents and unity of thought. I mean, in a small team, you don't do that. You sit together and you have it. Look at the family, you don't do that. So unity of action, if it's there, then it's there. And if it's not there, then you have to talk about it, write something down. And so for me, it is interactive, but it comes from the action. If action is perfect, you actually don't have to talk about purpose. Mm-hmm. You often see it. If a company grows bigger, then the implicit purpose that people have, for example, a company of, well, of one, it's obvious, 2, 3, 5, 10. Most of the time, these companies don't have a purpose or don't need a purpose because it's so implicit that the words are already difficult to find. Only if you grow bigger, you need the other unity levels to keep this consistency. Mm-hmm. So that would be my reflection on the directional question.
Mm-hmm. There's a few other questions I see. If you scroll a little bit up, Liesbeth, does having a female leader help or hinder create this kind of unity? I don't know if you have anything to say about that, or doesn't matter.
Can we go in that direction? Everything I say will be a generalization of everything. So actually, my thing would be to say there was a remark on ego. So it's people that don't have too big of an ego that would help, male or female.
Mm-hmm. We've talked about ego a little bit just a few moments ago. Is there any other thoughts or experiences that you have about that whole idea? Because isn't that
which idea? Ego?
Yeah, the ego, how that can be so destructive towards building unity. What has been your experiences in the workplace?
Yeah, well, ego is a difficult word already, but it's related to, are you open to others? Are you really listening? Or is there something in the way, a worry about your status? Mm-hmm. About how you are being seen, or if you're valued enough, that can all hinder open communication, open listening, and value-free argumentation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's...
Well, I see there's one other question that has come in, Liesbeth. So people, if you still have questions, this is now the time. We have to soon close the webinar. So this is, of course, a unique opportunity with someone that's actually actively striving to build a unified organization. Now is also the time to ask certain questions that you wish to have answered. So there is this question, Liesbeth, from Ole. I'm not sure if you see it. Unity should be based on something like principles, spiritual principles. Does that apply to your teams? What do you think for that?
I'm scrolling back because I saw it before, but unity should be based on something like principles. Yeah. So what helps is having defined core values. And it always helps if they're collectively defined. And those can guide you. So for me, the principles are together with the purpose, and the volition are in the center, mm-hmm. as root thoughts, principles, mm-hmm. To fall back on. Mm-hmm. So I already mentioned one of our core values. It's at eye level, mm-hmm. which can be about respect, about listening, and we have more context than only the word to help people understand. Also for new people that come in, what we collectively mean by that. But we, for example, also have the core value exploring, mm-hmm. which is about pioneering, of course, but it's also about experimenting, and it's about making mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, right. I have another question that came in, Liesbeth. It's from Adrian. Please tell more about which spaces you have for creating unity.
Spaces.
Yes, I guess that's something that is maybe you have some kind of meetings organized, or you mentioned reflection. Where are those conversations taking place where we have the opportunity to listen and let go of our ego? I think that is one of the space definition. Maybe have you created these opportunities where people can come together?
I actually, Martijn, you also asked me that question, and I thought it was a difficult question also at that time. I think it happens in everything we do. It's not something we do besides of our work. We do it in our work. As I said, someone comes and this person says, "Oh, he does this. He has done it again," and then I listen, and this can be at the coffee corner, and I ask, "Oh, so how come? Why?" As I said before, how can it be that such a conflict arises? Is there enough context? And then you steer the conversation into another direction. Not is he right or is she right, or no? What instruments do we have to see what could be a MoneYou way of doing things? However, we have something which I like as a principle, and I would love to grow actually even, and that's a monthly or 6-week meeting. I think it is every 6 weeks, where everyone can come, and we are 300 people, and often we are with 40 or so. Everyone can come, and everyone can raise a topic and say, well, I think there can be improvements made here or there. And that can be anything. It can be strategy. It can be working together. It can be organizing, structuring. It can be anything. It can be, we don't have a party. It can be everything.
That is already taking place. These meetings are there.
Yeah, this is once every 6 weeks. It's a pioneer meeting. And everyone can join, and everyone can raise whatever he feels that could be improved.
Right. Oh. Well, Liesbeth, I'm just looking at the clock, and unfortunately it is almost close to 9. It is actually it's such a fascinating subject, and unfortunately we don't have that much time. I just wanted to take a few words for the next webinar. I don't know if you can see this already. Is it on your screen?
Yeah, and I see we have all these questions and we couldn't answer, so maybe there's another way to answer them.
I don't know what we should do. I mean, one way is that I'll leave the Zoom channel open, and maybe people can also share experiences or share ideas with one another, or talk even with each other, or have the discussion go through the chat. And of course, the purpose of this webinar is really to stimulate your thoughts and to share experiences. And it has been very, very inspiring, Liesbeth, to hear your talk. It is such a source of encouragement, source of inspiration. And you have given us also that courage to actually start doing it. It is possible. You've shared so much experience and valuable insights. It's a very empowering space or the empowering feeling that you have given us. For the next webinar, it's going to be on the 20th of September. So we would like to invite all of you to join. It's again at 8 o'clock, and this time it will be about learning culture. It's what is actually a culture where people actually really learn together? How can we start learn and act and reflect and consult together? So this is going to be on the 20th of September. You can already register as we speak. It is live. The website is live. You can just now register. Also, these capacities that we spoke about becoming a builder of unity, they're very much embedded in our soul-driven leadership course. So if you are interested also like in becoming more, capable of promoting unity and to think in those terms, have a look also on the website about the soul-driven leadership that is starting this next month. And you can also contact for ourselves. So I just wanted to thank you again, Liesbeth. I'm sorry it's only 1 hour.
I'd like to thank you, Martijn, but I'd like to thank everyone, because also for me, this is such a learning experience, and I've seen so many beautiful words and questions and remarks that I learn about this hour as well. Thank you.
Yes, again, and I see also one person has written from, it was definitely worth waking up at 5:30 a.m. in New Zealand.
Wow,
so
impressive.
Thank you, Sarah. So what I've mentioned, I will leave this channel open so people can still write and maybe chat with each other. But thank you again, Liesbeth, and hope to see you all next time.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.